Alright, before we move on, let's focus a bit more on what it looks like to use your utility to make your gunfights easier. Especially on offense, this is going to be important because oftentimes you're going to have to use utility to force the defender the angles and help you take space more safely. In this first clip, take note of the utility used to help the attackers take control of B main.
He's a hater, that's okay.
Hopping here, hopping. I stunned her. Getting the ult. Hopping.
Attackers take control of B main.
He's a hater, that's okay.
Hopping here, hopping. I stunned her. Getting the ult.
Okay.
Nice.
I got mine.
Hey, give me bomb, give me bomb. Just drop it on the ground. Fuck, never mind. She's fucking tapping. 62 on the red.
They use a Skywolf and a Yoru decoy to clear the very first angle, and then Yoru is actually going to TP across towards B main to close the gap more quickly. This is similar to how you might use a Jet dash to close the gap on the Opper. If the attackers don't use any utility here, it's very likely that this Jet picks up an early kill with her op, but because they were careful to use their utility to force her off the angle, they were able to put her into a less favorable position. From here, Yoru takes his teleport and follows up off the Skydog, landing an early kill onto the enemy Jet, using the utility on their team to chase her down. From here, Yoru takes advantage of the smoke that the Jet placed to pop flash the enemy Skye on Pillar and land a second kill in the round. This was a really explosive entry, but notice how Yoru didn't really take any gunfights for either of these kills. The Jet was just running away and stunned, and the Skye was full blind. Optimally, this is how you take all of your gunfights, where your enemies don't even stand a chance. It's not just flashes and drones that can help you get these kills though. Even smokes and mollies can be great for setting up kills as well. Take a look at this round from Psalm where he's playing Brimstone on Fracture.
Dude, tower. This stun just got me. 2B main, 2B main.
One enemy
Yes,
remaining.
sir.
Spike down B.
Brimstone is an agent who is exceptionally good at stalling pushes, but just because you're stalling doesn't mean that you're not getting kills while you're doing it. Psalm is going to be firing off his molly and smoke towards B main's choke point, making it very difficult for the attackers to push through here, allowing him to isolate his gunfights elsewhere on site. While the molly holds back the push from main, he finds a kill onto the enemy Reyna exiting tower, and then immediately turns his attention towards the smoke as the molly fades.
There are more answers here. I just have to find them.
Hey, you need a mic? You need a mic? Hey.
Sure enough, he finds two enemies attempting to swing through the smoke, making for two very easy kills. Even on a support agent, Psalm is still able to find really excellent ways to give himself an advantage in fights and come up with some massive kills. As controllers, you generally want to find ways to fight around your smokes like this, as they will massively hinder your opponent's vision in the round, allowing you to isolate more gunfights, which is ultimately your goal when trying to land multi-kills. We'll cover that more later on, but for now, just keep in mind that using your utility is the best way to create favorable engagements in balance.
Decoy. Time to jump.
An advantage in fights and come up with some massive kills. As controllers, you generally want to find ways to fight around your smokes like this, as they will massively hinder your opponent's vision in the round, allowing you to isolate more gunfights, which is ultimately your goal when trying to land multi-kills. We'll cover that more later on, but for now, just keep in mind that using your utility is the best way to create favorable engagements in Valorant. All right, before we move on, you never want to fight more than one enemy at a time because at the end of the day, you can only shoot one enemy at a time. Now it's time for some of the more exciting stuff. Valorant is a really interesting game where oftentimes getting 1 or 2 kills is more than enough to win your team the round. Despite popular belief, you don't need to hard carry every single round. All you need to do is pull your weight and a little bit more. However, just because you don't need to get more multi-kills doesn't mean that you don't want to know how to do it.
Yeah, even a Trailblazer, they want to set him up to succeed. It's all about it, isn't it? The right click misses, and Jing just takes it anyway.
Jing stole the ace!
And maybe it would become justified.
This is why it's important to remember the #1 rule for any tactical shooter, which is you need to isolate your gunfights. You never want to fight more than one enemy at a time because at the end of the day, you can only shoot one enemy at a time. So that means that if you're fighting one guy, the other guy is going to turn around and he's going to shoot you in the back of the head. So you need to make sure that you're only taking one fight at a time. This is why you need to be thinking about how you can isolate your gunfights constantly so that you are always taking those 1v1s. This is why you need to be very conscious about how your teammates are positioned and how you need to approach it to find those 1v1 gunfights. And if you can't, you need to think about how you can use your utility to make it so you can. Maybe that means smoking one enemy off from another. Or maybe that means throwing a flash so you can blind one enemy and then you can take the duel on the other one. There are a lot of options. It doesn't really matter which one you choose. What matters is that you do it. You'll notice that a lot of our deaths can be attributed to